What's up, guys? D-Rock1992 here. For this next video and for my next movie review, I am going to be talking about a movie that came out all the way back in 1960. And this actually may be the oldest movie that I've ever reviewed on this channel, I believe. I reviewed I think I reviewed a couple of movies from the 60s before, but I think this is the oldest one. This movie is a historical Western epic film based on true events, and it is The Alamo. The Alamo is produced and directed by legendary actor John Wayne. Now, a little bit of insight into my love for John Wayne, my liking for John Wayne. I recently collected a lot of his films. On DVD and all that. And the reason being is that I was interested in him, you know. He was a huge movie star back in the day, John Wayne was. He was just the man back then. They called him the Duke. And, I mean, he just graced the film screen with westerns and war films. Those were the two genres he was famous for, were the westerns and the war films, for sure. And he did those films so well. He portrayed the characters in those films so well. So yeah, John Wayne's the big star of this movie. And he stars as Davy Crockett, the mythical, famous Davy Crockett who fought in the Battle of the Alamo. Also, you have a guy named Richard Widmark, who plays Jim Bowie, famous for the big Bowie knife. Lawrence Harvey plays William B. Travis, who is the main commander of all the Alamo forces in the Alamo. So those are the three big stars, I'd say, so I'm not going to really get into other characters, just John Wayne, Richard Widmark, and Lawrence Harvey. So a little bit of insight on the Battle of the Alamo. It happened in 1836, and this was during the time that the Texans in Texas were trying to get independence from Mexico, because Mexico had treated them wrongly and all that. So the Texans rebelled against the Mexicans. The Battle of the Alamo is the most famous battle of the Texan War, and it was 180-something Texans in the Alamo, which is a missionary, a church, an old missionary church, I believe, is what it was. It was a mission. It was a mission in Texas. So I believe it was San Antonio, if I'm not mistaken, was where that was. Well, let me see here. Yes, San Antonio. What is now San Antonio is where the Alamo is. And so 180 or so Texans have to defend the Alamo against thousands of Mexicans. About 2,000 or so Mexican soldiers. So needless to say, the Texans were very outnumbered. But they fought with bravery. And even though every single Texan soldier was killed in the battle, spoiler alert, I mean, you should have learned it in history class, so it's not much of a spoiler alert anyway, but anyway, all the soldiers were defeated, but it really sparked the Texans' fuel for fire to defeat the Mexicans. And then there was another battle called the Battle of San Jacinto, which was decisive. Only took 18 minutes to complete that battle. And the Mexicans lost the war, ultimately lost the Texan War after this battle, and Texas gained its independence from Mexico. So it's a very inspiring story, the Alamo. the Battle of the Alamo and all that sort of thing. And the movie pretty much is faithful to the battle, the actual historical events of the battle, with some inconsistencies, but that's to be expected of a film. You're not always going to get a very straightforward retelling of important historical events. That's not always going to happen. So, the three central characters are Davy Crockett, Jim Bowie, and William B. Travis, all of who died during the Battle of the Alamo, the final siege battle. Because this was a battle, this was a siege for 13 days. So for 13 days, the Mexicans kind of sized up the Texans, and then they took the battle right to them in the 13th day. And although the Texans fought very valiantly, the Mexicans ultimately won this battle and killed everybody, which served, of course, as fuel for fire for the eventual Texas win in the Texan War and independence. So, you've heard me talk about the plot because it is pretty much following the Battle of the Alamo. As far as the characters go, the standout in this movie is John Wayne. He is front and center in this movie. He is the star, he is the producer, he is the director. He really does a good job. And in my opinion of John Wayne as an actor, he's not the greatest actor ever. He really isn't. But he really exudes a lot of charisma. A lot of charisma. And he just has a powerful screen presence that you can't help but like him, I think. And I do like John Wayne. I think he's a good screen actor and all that. The other characters, Richard Widmark as Jim Bowie, he does a nice job portraying Bowie. And Lawrence Harvey also does a nice job portraying William B. Travis. So, very good performances there. Overall, The Alamo is a very good movie. It really is. I mean, it really is I think it's a very faithful retelling of the Alamo, the Battle of the Alamo. But, I mean, the big moment in this film is the final sequence, the final battle sequence, which is very, very good. You know, the final 13th day, the Battle of the Alamo. It's very good. Excuse me. It's very good. It's very dramatic. And even though it does end in a Mexican victory, this battle was very pivotal towards the run for independence for Texas. So, there you go. This interesting fact as well. A couple of John Wayne's kids, his son Patrick Wayne, is in this movie in a small role, and also Alyssa Wayne, Alyssa or Isa Wayne, who is the daughter of John Wayne, is also in this movie as well. So, The Alamo for me gets a 4 out of 5 stars. It is a very good retelling of the Battle of the Alamo, and yeah, what can I say? It is a good movie. And one of John Wayne's finest films. So, that is it for this video review on The Alamo. D-Rock 1992 out.